A painter named Louis Béroud walked into the Salon Carré of the Louvre to sketch the Mona Lisa on Tuesday morning, August 22nd, 1911. But when he arrived at her usual place, Louis found four iron pegs and a blank wall where the painting should have been. Louis asked the guard. The man assumed the painting had gone to the museum's photography studio. Hours passed before anyone understood the most famous museum in the world had lost a Leonardo da Vinci painting, and that it had been gone since the day before. Stealing the Mona Lisa had been perceived as impossible. France's National Museum director had reportedly dismissed the very idea. You might as well pretend that one could steal the towers of the Cathedral of Notre Dame, he had said. But the painting was gone. The thief, though no one would know it for more than 2 years, was Vincenzo Peruggia, a 30-year-old Italian house painter and glazier from a village in the north near the Swiss border. He was known for being quick to anger at any insult to himself or to Italy, which he absorbed plenty of both. His own brothers considered him a madman. His French coworkers, as he later testified, almost always called me mangia macaroni eater, and stole his belongings and salted his wine. Vincenzo knew the Louvre from the inside. In 1910, after a threatening letter reached the museum, officials hired a glazier firm to fit protective glass over a dozen of its prized paintings. Vincenzo was one of the workmen sent to do it, including on the case that held the Mona Lisa itself. He knew the painting to be small and light enough for one man to carry. And so, on Monday, August 21st, when the Louvre was closed to the public, Vincenzo entered in the white smock of a workman, lifted the Mona Lisa from the wall, stripped away its frame and glass case in a service stairwell, wrapped the panel, and walked out. The theft made headlines across Europe and beyond, becoming somewhat of a national emergency in France. Borders were watched and ships and trains were searched. The police questioned the poet Guillaume Apollinaire, who spent several days in jail, and brought in a young Pablo Picasso. Both were released, having had nothing to do with the crime. When the Louvre reopened at the end of August, Parisians lined up to see the empty wall. The newspaper Le Figaro called the blank space an enormous, horrific, gaping void. Visitors left flowers. Among those who came to look at where the painting had been was a young writer from Prague named Franz Kafka. The painting, all the while, was hidden in a trunk in Vincenzo's Paris lodging, not far from the museum. It stayed there for more than 2 years. Then, in late November 1913, a Florence antiques dealer named Alfredo Geri opened a letter postmarked Paris and signed Leonardo. It read, in part, "The stolen work of Leonardo da Vinci is in my possession. It seems to belong to Italy since its painter was an Italian. My dream is to give back this masterpiece to the land from which it came." Geri brought the letter to Giovanni Poggi, director of the Uffizi Museum. On Poggi's advice, Geri wrote back, expressing interest and asking to see the painting in Florence. In December, Vincenzo brought it there by train and in his hotel room produced it from a false-bottom trunk. Poggi examined the panel and confirmed it. Vincenzo was arrested at the hotel, still expecting to be rewarded. At trial in Florence, Vincenzo held to his stance that he had acted for Italy, believing the painting had been plundered by Napoleon. He was mistaken. Leonardo had brought the portrait to France himself near the end of his life, and it had entered the French royal collection lawfully, after being sold to the king by Da Vinci's will executor centuries before Napoleon was even born. But the story moved his countrymen. The court gave him a sentence of just over a year, reduced to 7 months, and much of the Italian press treated him as a misguided patriot rather than a criminal. The painting toured Italy under guard, drawing enormous crowds in Florence, Rome, and Milan, before returning to the Louvre in January 1914. In the first 2 days after it was rehung, more than 100,000 people came to see it. Before the theft, the Mona Lisa was a treasure known mainly to those in the art world. Baedeker's guidebook, the standard tourist companion of the day to Paris, gave it just 2 sentences, less than the museum's other gems. During the 28 months the Mona Lisa was missing, the headlines, the manhunt, and the wall people lined up to see made the painting something else. Its life as the most famous painting in the world arguably began while it could not be seen at all.